Well, greetings everyone and welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I've done a video. Yes, it's been quite a while actually. I've been on a bit of a hiatus from most creative things, you know, as you do. You kind of go through waves of creativity and then the creativity dies. And but now I'm kind of getting the itch again to kind of really throw myself into something. And I feel that, you know, making videos and talking about bikes and things is, you know, what I really enjoy. So I thought I'd crack on with producing some bikey content. Oh, look at those cows. Some bikey content to see what we can do, really. So yeah, in this particular video I'm just going to really kind of have a bit of a ramble and ride along on my bike. I'm actually on my lunch break at the moment, so it's a nice way to spend a lunch break. And what the hell is this? It's a very old ye olde tractor. Just check to make sure. Vintage tractor. Oh, cool. So yeah, so this is pretty much just a ramble, really. What's going on right now in the world of motorcycling? Well, this weekend is one of the other passions of my life, which is obviously motorcycling, but MotoGP. I'm a big fan of the MotoGP, and this weekend heralds the end of this summer break, and all the riders are in the Czech Republic, in Brno, about to ride around that fabulous circuit, which I think is a lovely circuit. It's a really fast, swooping, flowing circuit with some great corners. That infamous horsepower hill straight right before the last chicane onto the start-finish straight. And so yeah, so we've got Brno this weekend, which is great. Lots of MotoGP action, Moto2, Moto3. But yeah, so Brno, what's going on? As we know, Jorge Lorenzo is still absent from. I don't know why I waved to that chap there, but who cares? I'm polite biking. So yeah, Jorge Lorenzo isn't going to be there this weekend. He's still on the injured list from injuring his several vertebrae at that accident in Assen, I do believe, which is a real shame, really. I'm really hoping that when he does return, Jorge comes back a bit stronger than he has been. You know, I think that he's a rider that's very susceptible to confidence. He finds that whenever he seems to have a knock-in confidence, he really has a knock-in confidence, if you get me. I remember when he came off in Assen a few years ago and broke his collarbone, and it took him a very long time to reach any kind of performance, especially in the wet. So eventually when Jorge does return, which I think is in a few races' time, recovering from his fractured vertebrae, he returns a lot stronger. Needless to say, I think the whole Lorenzo-Honda relationship this year has been fascinating to watch. It's been great seeing, you know, Jorge trying to muscle this and wrestle this, you know, the RCV around some of those corners as Marquez does so naturally. But it's also been really fascinating watching HRC try and accommodate, you know, Jorge's demands. Yeah, but it's been really fascinating watching HRC and Honda actually trying to make this bike somewhat softer for Lorenzo's riding style, and they've been putting all sorts of winglets and bits of plastic and things that he can grip onto to help him ride the bike a bit smoother. So even though it's been unfortunate for Lorenzo in terms of injuries and, you know, performance, it's been also quite interesting just to watch that relationship develop over the course of the season. And you know, I think we all had a flash of, you know, Lorenzo back in Barcelona, you know, those first 2 laps of Barcelona before he wiped out everybody, which is a shame. But it was great to see for those 2 laps. That seems to be the only time this season where we've really seen Lorenzo, you know, attacking and going at it and muscling in with the top riders. So fingers crossed that when he does return, I really hope that he's got some confidence, he's got some inner strength going on, and he doesn't let that RCV call the shots. He should be the one calling the shots. So fingers crossed he comes back stronger. What else for Brno this weekend? We've got the Yamahas. I'm quietly confident that this this race coming, oh, it's wet. I'm quite confident that this race is going to be, hopefully be, a Yamaha victory. Possibly a couple of podiums as well. Maybe Vinales, maybe Quartararo can get a podium. I think that Yamaha have had a gradual, steady increase, climb, should we say, in development and performance over the course of the season. It's not been a rapid, jump in performance, but I think they've just gradually gotten stronger. I think a lot of that is down to Quartararo, who's been absolutely riding the neck off that M1. And I know there's been a lot of talk about Rossi over the summer break, talking about retirement, and people saying, "Oh, you should hang up his leathers," and does he have it still in him? You still remember that Rossi's only a few points behind Vinales in the championship, and I think that we are just so used to measuring Rossi's success against Rossi's own success. He was a 9-time world champion, and he has not won a race fair, admittedly, in the last year, but my God, it's really wet around here, isn't it? So yeah, I think Rossi is by any means down and out. I think that he just needs to find a sweet spot. He's still up there in the championship, and let's face it, for the past few seasons that Yamaha has not been as performing as well as, say, for example, the Honda has. So the sooner they can kind of hit that sweet spot, I'm quite sure that we'll see Rossi back at the top, fighting for position. It's to go. There we go. It's a shame it's raining, really, because some of these roads up ahead are quite twisty and turny, but they're a little bit bouncy. And as you can probably see now on the GoPro, it's there might be some spots of rain, but never mind, we'll still enjoy the ride. Bouncy. So yeah, Ducati have been a bit hit and miss this season. I find that despite their incredible rise, climb up the ladder over the past few years, this year I found that, for example, Petrucci and Dovi's, their really close relationship, I think, is kind of going against them a little bit, and maybe Danilo needs to get his elbows out a bit more. He's almost being too respectful, I think, to Dovi, and I think that we saw flashes in Mugello when he does get aggressive, when he does push, that he can fight for the lead and he can win races. So I think that I'm hoping Danilo comes back from the summer break a bit more, open to aggressiveness and take a bit of the lead. I mean, quite often we see races where the two Ducatis are the two Desmos are kind of riding right behind each other as a kind of a pair, and I really want to see one of them break away and just kind of think, bollocks to this, I'm going to just ride the arse of this thing, and I don't care who's in the way. So see, some of these corners are really nice, but I have to just be a bit careful on the tarmac. My God, this road's a lot bumpier than I remember. It's a shame, really. God. And Suzuki, what about Suzuki? So Suzuki have just been awesome. The last few years they've just really, just stepped up in terms of performance. Rins and Mir are riding awesomely. I think it's a great pair. That's a great partnership to have on that Suzuki. As we know, Rins has been a race winner this year. He won in Texas, and yeah, it's just awesome to see that bike up there. And then there is Cal Crutchlow. So obviously Cal rode amazingly well last race. I think he was the rider of the race, really, battered and bruised. And I think sometimes that when he is injured, it really kind of brings out the best in him, because he seems to have a more reserved head on him, and so and it does produce results. I remember when he was at Barcelona and he tried to overtake Miller, and he went in at a bazillion miles an hour and he flew off the track, bless him. And he, what I mean? But when he's injured, I think it puts a little kind of alarm bell in his head, and it kind of maybe brings out a little bit of consistency in him. I don't know, but it's going to be, I have no doubt that Cal will be fighting. And I really hope he can put it all together, because when he can put a race together, when he can put a weekend together, he is right there. He is one of the aliens. He is there fighting and trying, and so yeah, fingers crossed. There's a fly in my helmet. there's a fly actually buzzing around in my visor. I'm going to have to open my visor. Hopefully he's gone now. So yeah, that's it really. And I think the last person, the last rider that we've not really mentioned today is Marquez, saving, you know, the great one to last, because let's face it, he is just unstoppable at the moment. He is somehow riding that Honda, which, you know, for what people say isn't the best bike on the grid, but you know, it's just a match made, isn't it? And you just know that whoever is taking the fight to the lead, he's going to be one of them. So yes, are you a MotoGP fan yourself? You know, do you have any thoughts on this weekend's race or this season so far? Do you think that Lorenzo, how are you finding the whole Lorenzo situation? You know, do you think that Daniele Petrucci should be more aggressive on the Ducati? Do you think that Valentino is out for the count and should retire? What do you think? You know, drop a comment below, let us know. And ride safe, drive safe wherever you are. Enjoy the sun while you've got it. And I'll just carry on riding for a bit.